We did it, Tantan. We did it. We topped the first regional back from COVID. Oh yes, what a long, strange journey it's been. Tantan has been here as my support since the very beginning, and without him, I couldn't have topped this event. So, we managed to get top 4 at the first regional back. I played Adamancipator for God knows what reason. This came purely because of Reddit. You see, there was a thread recently made on Reddit discussing how good are Yugi tubers, and there was a tier list made by the original posters saying that tier 1 was Team Samurai, DZ, Triff, and Distant Coder. And I took issue with this because I'm in tier 2. And further than that, Farfa's weird. His theory is good, his gameplay doesn't live up to it though. Gage should be higher, above Farfa. He may have issues with progression, but if you watch his vlogs and other content, he's a decent player. Farfa is decent above average for sure. He has a YCS win under his belt and some top... YCS win? Yeah, no, I remember, I do recall. Yeah, that was a good event. Yeah, for sure, that was, yeah, you guys remember that one? That was good. So, this is the regional box and new map for the season that you get. I haven't actually seen these before until now, so glad to have picked this up by myself. This is Adamancipator, this is Rock, this is Combo, how the mighty have fallen since Block Dragon has been erased, but let me show you exactly what I played in this list here. So, beginning, first of all, with the basic tuners. You play all 9 copies of these. You would never play less than that, and it would be very weird, champ, if you did. Now, for the generic rock monsters that we play 2 Doki Doki. I think that I kind of want to try bumping it up to 3, since you have a lot of extenders in this deck, especially with the new Fusion Destiny. It's a good way to bait out Ash Blossom. Coupled with Adamancipator Sign, it's a decent way to combo, but it is a little vulnerable, and hand traps aren't super relevant right now, and it's just a bit of a weak normal summon. But overall, you do need to make sure that you maintain, I believe, personally, 13 relevant excavates. That way, statistically, you shouldn't miss when hitting a tuner. Well, you will miss, and I did miss quite a lot actually today, but around about an 86% chance to always hit with your Adamancipator tuners if you play this many, and that's why Drageye is in here. It's simply to keep the excavate count up. Realistically, this could be Tackle Crusader or any other generic rock monster you want to play, like the Rock Band guy, maybe, I don't know. But the point is that you need to keep a decent amount of excavate targets up in your deck so that you don't whiff on your tuners, which can happen. Outside of the main excavate targets, so to speak, that's the 13 there. After that, it's there's a 1 dropsies, of course, for the Pranked engine, which, by the way, the Pranked engine completely overperformed. It's almost always amazing when it works well, especially when you're playing 3 copies of Parallel Exceed as a main extender. I'm also maining 2 copies of Nibiru. This isn't a really sometimes you want to see sometimes, but not all the time situation. It's more so because of the fact that this is your main bridge for the best spell in the deck, which I'll show you soon. That's really the only reason it's here, and you need to play 2 so that it's never dead. 1 Plague Spreader as a zombie. I believe this is the best target for Halka Fibrax. I'm not playing Despot or Auradon O-Lion target. Obviously not O-Lion, but you know what I'm saying. I'm not playing that nonsense machine engine because it's an absolute bundle of bricks, and I guess this is kind of like a bricky deck in general, to be fair with you. But anyway, moving on, we play Adamancipator Sign as the main spell here, as well as 4 defensive cards in the shape of triple Forbidden Droplet and a random Duster I decided to throw into the main deck at the last minute, just for, I guess, regional reasons. So wanted to have a main deck out for Mystic Mine if that ever came up. And of course, a massive reason as to why I decided to keep playing this deck thereafter, the fact that it kind of just has been really bad recently, I guess, is the Fusion Destiny package is extremely powerful, and being able to slap this down after your opponent interrupts you 2 or 3 times is extremely powerful because DPE is a very sticky boy and hard to out. And the final card, why I decided to play it all together anyway, was Smile World. Sorry, Small World. I don't know why I keep getting those cards mixed up, but this basically gives you 3 more copies of the tuners in your deck. The main bridge for this is basically any rock monster, usually some of the bad ones that you don't want to see in multiples, like Quakimeru Guardians and stuff. Quakimeru Guardian reveals Nibiru, actually, is the main card you go for here. So Nibiru, this is because this is a rock monster which has nothing in common with Nibiru except for its type, which has nothing in common with the Adamancipator tuners except for its type. Light, different level, different stats. So this is the main bridge, but there's also a couple of niche ones that you might need to learn for playing this deck. Like, for example, the Dropsies into Dragite can get you into Seeker or Researcher. There's also Plague Spreader through Celestial, can also get you to Seeker or Researcher. So those are a couple of niche bridges that sometimes come up. If you want to play Dinotherium, you can also bridge into Droll and Lockbird post-siding. Unfortunately, I didn't get Droll and Lockbird in time for the regional, which was fine because I beat 2 Lyrilusk players, so I guess I didn't need a Kick W. Over to the extra deck. It's surprisingly flexible. I'll tell you what isn't cuttable. Anaconda is definitely going to be played. Almirage, you need this to link away your Dragite or your Plague Spreader to be able to trigger your Exceed or your Supplier. You wouldn't really cut Almirage, although it's a little bit iffy. Unicorn, Masquerena, very important cards, especially when you're climbing up into Access. Code Talker, Prank Kids Meow Meow for, you know, the Roxies we play, as well as Bow Wow Bark, which should definitely be a Dodo Doodle Doo instead because it's a wind. I used to play Leonite to be able to have a fire in the graveyard to consistently make sure Leonite was live to bring back Guardian, but it's actually better to have wind since wind access is a little bit harder in this deck. In fact, the only way to get wind in the graveyard is with Parallel Exceed or if Apollousa dies. Halqifibrax, the best way to extend and get tuner access, of course, and bringing out Plague Spreader, which is an extender in and of itself, is always amazing, and your main link monster that you end on is Apollousa. For your synchros, we play, of course, Raptite, the most important and best Adamancipator monster there is. Your main negate that you'll be ending on for synchros is Savage Dragon, and occasionally you will be making Baron the Floor. I've been trying to test this recently because Raptite makes it with a Analyzer or a Doki and a 2 and Raptite. The value it gives you when popping a card going second can sometimes come up, but also because of the fact it is an Omni negate that you can go into if you already have a level 8 access. And for going second, generally, Dragite to bounce cards. This is how I outed the Lyrilusk annoying XE monster that sits there on the Mystic Mine. But hey, I have my tournament report on my Twitter if you want to be able to follow me and check that out. Last card is a Phoenix Enforcer. Obviously, you play with the Verte. This card is extremely sticky. The value that you get from Dasher and Celestial in the follow-up is just talk about that in a video of its own. In fact, I have talked about it in a video before, so you should check that out for sure. Sorry, there is one more card here. Gallant Granite. Rank 4 access with the Supplier triggering in the hand with a Prank Kid, etc. usually lets you make different ways to get into a rank 4 monster, which searches Researcher, which then goes into Hulk, into etc, etc. The side deck was flexible. There's a couple of cards here I thought really were amazing, and some cards I'll mention. The third Nibiru, I just wanted some more cards for combo. Mystic Mine surprisingly overperformed. It will always instantly bait out and negate for you. It's, yeah, like I was able to just activate this after baiting 1 or 2 cards and then just sit on it for a few turns until I have enough resources to push through in hopes that they don't draw Tri-Brigade Oath. Evenly Matched was also very good because it's a regional and generally you want to hit back row decks. And speaking of which, my last 3 spots in the deck actually ended up being 2 Cosmic Cyclone. Sorry, my last 2 spots ended up being Cosmic Cyclone. I had 2 spare spots. This was going to be Chalice or back row hate, and I figure for a regional, I just wanted some back row hate. That's what the reboot is here. The only cards I ever sided going first ever was 3 Anti-Spell and Order, and this was only to be able to force out Droplet early or prevent Dark Ruler from coming down. And the last card I sided was an Abyss Dweller, rank 4 extra deck monster, just in case if I ever ended up playing against some sort of graveyard deck. So for the most part, I believe that this list that I have here for the Adamancipator deck is as good as it gets. I don't really think there's other better versions out there. I don't think the Despot Machine Turbo Auradon play is particularly good. I feel like there's other ways to play that deck if you really do want to play that Garnet Fest, but I guess this deck is a Garnet Fest, so adding 2 more is, who cares, I suppose at that point. Anyway, this is my deck. If you want to see the full tournament rundown and report, it was a round 1 loss to Burning Abyss. It's always good when you start a regional at 0-1, of course, and nothing more poetic than Farfa having his only match loss of the entire event be to round 1 BA. I was really not excited for the event after round 1. I thought this was going to be over another embarrassing X3 drop defeat, but it is what it is. We managed to win out and play through. I beat 2 Lyrilusk Tri-Brigade players, a Sword Soul player, a Time Thief player randomly, and in round 2, a Gren Maju player, which is a terrifying deck because they have an insane number of ways to break your board with Kaijus, etc. But overall, it was a fun event, and this was the first regional back in Scotland that has been occurred since COVID, so it was really fun. Shout outs to everyone I met and all the friends and stuff that went with me. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and until next time, adios.
Say goodbye, Tan. Bye bye. Bye bye.